Welcome in to Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis, continuing to fight through absolute sniffles. Also still rocking my Caribbean beard. Look at this neck beard. It's glorious. I haven't touched a razor in about 14 days. I absolutely love it. Probably going to have to hit the razor tomorrow because I got a business dinner. But until then, just gaze upon this majestic beard and neck beard with total commitment. Right now, there's not a woman watching this. One, there might not be a woman watching this in general, but if there are any women watching this right now, they just got pregnant. They just got pregnant when I flashed the neck beard. My name is Clay Travis. This is Outkick the Show. It's presented by Sportsbook Review. You can see the new banners that I have behind me. I would encourage all of you to go check out sportsbookreview.com. Get ready for everything that's going on right now in the world of college basketball and the NBA and the NFL Combine. We're going to talk Combine gambling at the end of the show. Going to give you an idea what I'm going to talk about. Comcast. I told you this was going to happen. That it was like three-dimensional chess going on. Comcast is trying to kill the Disney-Fox acquisition. We're going to talk about what's going on there, why Sky Broadcast overseas in England is such a big story. I'm going to break down all of that for you. Jerry Jones versus Roger Goodell. Two rich dudes going head-to-head in the NFL. One of the most entertaining subplots of the NFL season is the fact that Jerry Jones has basically gone to war with Roger Goodell. Now Roger Goodell is returning fire. Donald Trump has announced that he is going to run in 2020. We'll break down that. LeBron James, Nike going all in on their new marketing campaign, which is, wait for it, equality. Nike is going all in on equality. LeBron James, who has the most unequal amount of basketball talent of any human being ever made in the history of the world, is in fact in favor of equality, even though he's the most unequally gifted athlete in the history of the NBA. And we're going to talk about NFL Combine gambling. Who's going to win in terms of the numbers that you look at for 40 times? Which quarterback is going to post the best overall Wonderlic? All of that and more. I am going all in on these stories. And we begin with a story that hit me this morning. Comcast making a bid for Sky, which is a broadcast network in Britain, in Europe. It has 23 million subscribers. I'm just going to toss this out off the top of the show, by the way, as well. You need to go register today at thehomeloanexpert.com. Get hooked up. My guy Ryan Kelly drawing tomorrow to give away the best suite in the entire arena in St. Louis. You can watch the SEC title game in the conference tournament inside of the best suite with 11 of your friends, unlimited alcohol. Make sure that you get hooked up there. All you have to do is go register at thehomeloanexpert.com. You can get more registration value put in for your name if you tweet me a funny reason why you deserve to go, or if you get me to favorite one of your tweets arguing for why you should go. That's thehomeloanexpert.com. If you have trouble with remembering any of this stuff, go read the anonymous mailbag. It's the link at the top of the anonymous mailbag today, which, by the way, was superb. Let's go back to the story. I wake up every morning at 4:15 or 4:20 a.m. This morning, 4:20 a.m., I roll over. The first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is I look at my phone to see which news broke overnight. The notification that most proudly and soundly jumps to the top of my notification list is that Comcast has now stepped in and bid on Sky Broadcasting, the cable company. I believe it's cable company or satellite, whatever the heck they are. They got 23 million subscribers. So, question for everybody out there. Do we have a single person right now watching in Britain? A single person on Facebook or a single person on Periscope right now watching who might be very familiar with Sky? I asked that for this reason. The CEO of Comcast, and I thought this was really fascinating, the CEO of Comcast in his press conference announcing this bid said two different things. He said he was recently overseas in London. And by the way, I'm going overseas in London for the Tennessee Titans game as soon as that's announced. I love England. Going to go over there for a week, do my radio show, everything else all over in England for a week around the Titans-Chargers game. I want to go see a game in London, Wembley Stadium, I believe it is. Said that he talked to a cab driver and said he talked to somebody inside of Westfield Mall over there, and he managed to convince himself, based on those conversations partly, that the footprint of Sky Broadcasting was massive. Now, I would encourage you, if you want to go back to kind of keep track of this story, a while back, you can Google it, you can pull it up. It was a big topic of conversation. I told you that there was going to be a big battle in the media universe because Comcast wasn't happy that Rupert Murdoch and Fox chose to sell their assets to Disney. And I told you, based on the storm clouds that were gathering, that somebody was planning a chess move. I just wasn't sure exactly what that first chess move was going to be. Well, now we've seen it. And Comcast is trying to come in and steal away Sky from Disney Fox. Now, Fox owns 39% of Sky. And by the way, if you aren't fascinated by this, I don't know what you do for a living that you watch this show. This is maybe the most entertaining media story that I can remember in a long time, and it has significant sports media tentacles. So I'd encourage you to be following this, because if you care about the future of the industry, or you're just curious in general about where we're going as a sports media universe, and frankly where the media in general is going, this is a massive story, okay? So recently, Sky buys the English Premier League soccer rights, and they buy them for 16% less than they paid in the last go-round. Now, I'm not sure this is a sign that the sports bubble has popped, but the fact that the EPL in England is going for 16% less than it went for in the last contract suggests that television has basically wrung every piece of value out of sports that it can. And so the CEO of Comcast said he saw that news and it made buying Sky look even more attractive to him. So they have effectively come out and increased their bid by 20%. They are now offering roughly 20% more than Fox was offering. I don't know what's going to happen here, but this story around Fox and Rupert Murdoch and Sky has been going on for a long time. In fact, all the way back to the hacking scandal. And if you remember the hacking scandal, that was when all these British tabloids were getting into famous people's voicemails and into their phones and using whatever gossip that they were able to glean from those illegal hackings to put on the front page of the newspaper and help to sell more newspapers. As a result of that, Rupert Murdoch was not able to buy the 61% of Sky that he doesn't already own. And so he's been fighting to try to buy back that ever since. It was a huge scandal in England. He's been trying to get the 61% that he doesn't own ever since then. It's a big part of the reason why Disney wanted to buy the Fox assets. They want the 23 million subscribers that they have overseas. So Comcast sweeps in early this morning. I wake up at 4:15. I look down at my phone. Breaking news. Comcast has offered 20% more for Sky than Fox had offered. What is the impact of this? I don't know fully, because I'm not sure how all the chess pieces are going to be moved from here. But I think it's clear that Comcast is trying to break the otherwise looks like solid chance that Disney has to buy all the Fox assets. I wonder on some level whether Rupert Murdoch is also behind this, trying to potentially drive up the cost of Disney's acquisition and get more money than he otherwise would. Maybe try to get Netflix involved, maybe try to get Amazon involved. This is a fascinating story to follow. So right now, Media Blockbuster is well said. Right now, there are 4 major companies involved. Sky, which has 23 million subscribers in Europe, predominantly in England. Disney, which is massive. Fox, which is massive. And Comcast, which is massive. This is one of the biggest stories that we have seen in a very long time in terms of how the future of media is going to shake out. And I think we're a long way from this union between Disney and Fox actually managing to happen. So I would just encourage you to be paying attention to that and hope all of you are, in fact, paying attention to it, because it is a big story that is going to get a lot of attention. Somebody says, which scenario is best for me? The good thing about owning your own business is you don't have to worry about anything except for your own business. So I don't think there's any impact at all to me in terms of the overall future of Outkick. Outkick is rolling at a level I never would have believed was possible before. The morning radio show has become dominant. They're trying to sign me to a multi-year extension to keep getting up early in the morning and do the show. There are lots of people out there also talking to me, trying to get me to be involved in this and that. I can't even keep track of all the different options right now. So it's a good time to be me. That's what happens when you've been grinding away for 13 or 14 different years. What do I think about the new CBS Sports HQ? I haven't watched it. It's an interesting theory. All right. So anyway, that is a story I would encourage you guys to follow. What questions might you have about Comcast, Disney, Fox, and this Sky deal? Any questions at all that you guys have? I think Comcast basically is angling to try to break this deal up and get all of the assets themselves, considering they offered more. I think Rupert Murdoch might want Comcast, Disney, Netflix, and Amazon to all get involved if he can sell off some assets that would be more attractive remaining. So I think this story is long from over. And remember, we still got the AT&T Time Warner merger that's sitting around out there being challenged by the Department of Justice. This is a big story, and I think it's only going to get bigger. All right, before I get to Jerry Jones versus Roger Goodell, I want to get to this. Donald Trump has announced that he's going to run in 2020. Now, let me say this. I thought there was a decent chance, and I still think it's possible, that Donald Trump is going to announce right before election deadlines that he feels like he's made America great again, that he's not a professional politician. He's going to hand the baton off to Mike Pence, and he's going to ride off into the sunset as a one-term president and not have to face re-election. However, I think the people who hate Donald Trump are actually making it more likely that he is going to run for re-election in 2020. Let me explain why. Donald Trump hates the media. Donald Trump hates his critics. What is the best way for Donald Trump to have success and infuriate his critics? Not to get elected president once, but to get elected president and then get re-elected president in 2020. I think the people who hate Donald Trump and are going after him so vociferously, so aggressively, trying to exorciate him in the public eye, what's going on is you're actually stealing his spine. He's a fighter. You're making it more likely that he's not going to leave politics. The best way to get Donald Trump to leave the presidency is just to ignore him. Get him bored in the presidential office. Don't pay attention to every tweet he sends. Don't cover his administration like it's a reality show. Just don't pay that much attention to him. That's kind of what Congress has decided to do. And I think if the media did it, that's the best way for Donald Trump to not actually run for re-election. But I think Donald Trump now wants to run for re-election to shove it in the face of his critics and win the election not just once but twice. And I think he also wants to win the popular vote and drive them even more insane. So I will say this. The incumbent president has a massive advantage. There's going to be somebody that runs against Donald Trump that will hate Donald Trump, and all of Donald Trump's supporters will run against them too. But there's a reason that we have not had an incumbent president lose since, I believe I'm correct about this, since George Bush Sr. in 1992. Bill Clinton won in 92. He won in 96. George W. Bush won in 2000. He won in 2004. Barack Obama won in 2008, and he won in 2012. The power of incumbency, if anything, seems to be increasing overall in our modern media era. And so, if you go back in time all the way to 1992, we've now had, what's the math on that? 1992 doesn't seem that long ago to me because I remember it well, but it's been, by 2020, it will have been 28 years since an incumbent lost an election. So I think that Donald Trump has a very good chance to win re-election in 2020. And I think the reason why Donald Trump will win re-election in 2020 is because the people who hate Donald Trump, they still don't realize it, they're his best allies. The people who hate Donald Trump think they are going to tear him down and they are going to be able to finally get him ridiculed and run him out and get him fired. Instead, they're actually making Trump's base stronger, and they're probably going to lead to the Democrats nominating somebody who's far left wing, because the left wing of the party is going to control the Democratic political process. They're going to run far left wing, crazy identity politics bullshit, and the average person out there is going to say, I don't like Donald Trump, but the stock market's doing pretty well. These tax cuts have been decent. This is assuming things continue for the next couple of years like they have for the first year and a half, and Trump's going to have a really good chance to get reelected. That's the truth. Because not just Donald Trump, it's who Donald Trump's running against. And Hillary Clinton was an awful candidate. I think the Democrats are likely to pick another awful candidate instead of a moderate. Instead of a moderate, they're going to pick an awful left-wing candidate, and it's going to make Donald Trump and his base turn out. It's going to make independent people, the same 8 million people who flipped their vote from Barack Obama in 2012 to Donald Trump in 2016, it's going to make it happen again. So I think that's what's likely to happen. Okay, let's talk Jerry Jones versus Roger Goodell. Jerry Jones stood up to Roger Goodell. I love that he stood up to Roger Goodell. I love that he said to Roger Goodell, you are doing an awful job effectively as commissioner. I put a poll question up this morning, and it's rare that the results of poll questions really surprise me. I thought Roger Goodell would have more support than he actually does. I asked, do you think, a simple question, do you think that Roger Goodell has done a good job as commissioner? He's making $40 million a year. He just signed a $200 million contract. And so I asked the question, do you think Roger Goodell is doing a good job? And here were the results. I'm going to pull that up so you can see it. It blew me away. Is Roger Goodell doing a good job? 20,000 of you nearly have voted. And you are saying by an 85% margin that you do not think Roger Goodell is doing a good job. I am on Jerry Jones's side here in this great dispute. I think Roger Goodell was wrong to suspend Ezekiel Elliott. I think he made a poor decision, and I think it's indefensible based on the evidence. I think Roger Goodell's decision to begin the personal conduct policy in general and conduct all of these independent investigations also is indefensible. I don't think there's any way to say that was a solid decision. I think the way that Roger Goodell responded to Colin Kaepernick's protest was the way that a loser would respond to this protest. I thought that it was a really poor decision, a mosquito dick response when you needed a helicopter dick response. And so I think that Roger Goodell has not done a good job as commissioner of the league. I think that just about everything Roger Goodell has done, I could have done, and an average intelligent NFL fan could have done. What Roger Goodell walked into, the benefit that Roger Goodell walked into more than anything else, was the rise of fantasy football, which led to an explosion of overall NFL ratings. Fantasy football going onto the internet with Yahoo, ESPN, CBS, everybody else, made the average fan care much more about the NFL than they otherwise would have. Fantasy sports, I believe, has peaked and has begun its decline. I'm one of those people. I was on the upswell of fantasy sports back in 1999, playing when for the first time they were available online, and I've given it up. I've just gotten busy. I don't enjoy it as much. I'd rather gamble on games. I don't want to make up a fake team. I don't want to have to worry about setting my lineup. I enjoy much more gambling on games than I do having a fake fantasy football team. I think a lot of guys are like me. I think fantasy football has peaked. I think the number of people who are really excited about getting their guys together and putting together a league and everything else, I think it's peaked. And I think that's a part of why television ratings are down. I think the biggest reason television ratings are down is pretty straightforward. I think it's because Roger Goodell couldn't handle the Colin Kaepernick protest. And as a result, he alienated a substantial number of people who are the baseline, most regular NFL fans. And I've been talking about this for a long time. I think you're also going to see this in terms of what the Carolina Panthers sell for. I read Darren Rovell's story today. Darren Rovell said the Tennessee Titans tried to put 30% of the franchise on the market, and they were hoping that it was going to get a $1.5 billion valuation. They were hoping that somebody was going to offer $500 million for 30% of the Tennessee Titans. Instead, the biggest offer they got was $300 million, which would have valued the entire franchise at $900 million. I think the NFL values have peaked. If I were an NFL owner right now, I think it's a good time to sell. I don't foresee good things happening for the NFL in the years ahead. I think we've hit peak NFL. I think you're going to see that with the Carolina Panthers franchise. I'm intrigued to see what it actually ends up selling for. The only way that's going to be different is if really rich dudes basically decide that an NFL franchise is the equivalent of like a Monet that they want to hang on their wall. They just want to own an NFL franchise to be able to brag that they own it, because I think the business behind owning an NFL franchise is not justifying the overall prices that they're running for. All right. I don't know if you've seen these shoes, but everybody's making a big deal about the fact that LeBron James has new equality shoes. The shoes start off spelling equality on one heel, and they continue spelling equality on the other heel. Nike has now decided that their overall number one brand move is to embrace the term equality, even though just about everybody in America is in favor of equality. And even though LeBron James's basketball talent is actually unequal, LeBron James is selling a tennis shoe with equality written on the back of it, which is made by slave labor overseas. The irony of this decision is mind-blowing. There are effective slave laborers sitting there making equality sneakers so that LeBron James in America can pat his chest and all the social justice warriors out there can say, my God, look how brave LeBron James is. He is in favor of equality. The reality is this: the LeBron James equality shoes are made in a fundamentally unequal way. And the money that is made off of LeBron James's equality shoes will be distributed in a fundamentally unequal way. If LeBron James wants equality, he's welcome to give away $700 million and live like the average American does on $56,000 a year for a family of four. He's welcome to do that. If he's such a huge favor of equality, he could lift many people out of inequality and put them right smack dab on the plane of equality. Instead, LeBron James, in an unbelievable master move, is going to make lots of money alongside of Nike, a major multi-billion-dollar corporation, pulling the wool over people's eyes, selling a tennis shoe with the word equality on it. It's mind-blowing to me. It's unbelievable that people are so in desperate need of being woke that they don't even look at basic facts. There is literally almost nothing you can do that is more unequal than buy Nike's equality shoes in an effort to establish how important equality is to you. You are a stooge in a larger corporate arena. The people making those shoes are not equal. The people making the money are not equal. They are playing you for fools, and you're too dumb to see it, and it's increasing Nike's earnings. I just think it's unbelievable. We don't need equality in this country. We already have it. What we need in this country is the meritocracy to actually take root across the country, and for people to recognize that whether you succeed or fail has to do with how talented you are and how hard you work, and not your birth, father, or mother. That's the truth. Otherwise, how in the world are Asian people showing up in this country and dominating all of us? How in the world are immigrants showing up in this country and dominating all of us? Lots of talk about privilege, white privilege. All the time people want to talk about white privilege. Here's what nobody talks about. We all have American privilege. Hashtag American privilege. And that means if you are in America today, there has never been a better country or a better time to be in a country to be able to take advantage of fundamental opportunities regardless of your race, your gender, your class, or your religion. If you work hard and rely on one hand, the one at the end of your sleeve, you can be insanely successful. Asian people are the best example of this. If America were a fundamentally racist country, and if white privilege was all that mattered, why are Asian people averaging much more income, Asian men, than any other ethnic group in this country? Is there Asian privilege? Or are Asian people just showing up in this country and dominating and taking advantage of the opportunities that we provide here? They are thriving in a meritocracy. Do you know why? Because guess what works well in a meritocracy? Embracing educational values, working your ass off, going to the best college you can possibly attend, reading a book and stepping up your vocab, you illiterate son of a bitch, being in charge of your own education and driving yourself forward instead of being fat and lazy with Cheetos sitting around watching television all day. All right? The truth of the matter is this. We are an equal country, but a meritocracy does not distribute its assets on an equal basis because work ethic is not distributed equally, because effort in school is not distributed equally. Do you know why so many native-born Americans, not Native Americans, native-born Americans get dominated by immigrants? Because immigrants come into this country and don't take the opportunity for granted. They kick ass every day. Hispanic people coming into this country work their asses off. Asian people coming into this country work their asses off. Africans coming into this country work their asses off. Nigerians are one of the highest earning ethnic groups in this country. Last time I checked, they tend to be black. They come here and dominate. Do you know why? Because the opportunity for Americans who are born in Nigeria is better than the opportunity for Nigerians who are born in Nigeria. America is the best country in the world, and people come here and dominate. If you're a native-born American and you are sitting around whining because you're not dominating, guess what? That's mosquito dick thinking. You need to think like a helicopter dick. There's nothing stopping you from succeeding except for your own belief that there is something stopping you from succeeding. That's my pep talk for the day on this storyline. Finally, we got some NFL Combine related gambling opportunities, not debts yet, that are out there that I thought was interesting. This is from our friends at sportsbookreview.com. If you want to gamble on these things, go to sportsbookreview.com. You can see all of these lines that are out there as well. Again, will any player break a combine record in the 40? No, minus 700. Fastest 40 time, over under 4.29 seconds. Will the fastest 40 time come from an offensive or defensive player? Thought this was intriguing. Offensive player, minus 170. Who runs a faster 40? Saquon Barkley or Lamar Jackson? Saquon Barkley, a substantial favorite at minus 165. And then I thought this was interesting. Also, again, you can go check these out at sportsbookreview.com. Which quarterback will score the highest on the Wonderlic test? Josh Allen, Wyoming quarterback, I guess must be a genius because he's plus 130. I don't know if they got test scores. I don't know how they're judging this. I would be fascinated to hear the basis for these odds that they are setting. Josh Rosen is plus 225. This dude graduated from college in 3 years in economics at UCLA, and his dad is a neurosurgeon. That seems like pretty good Wonderlic genes to me. I'm not an expert, but if your dad is a neurosurgeon, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be pretty smart. Just like if your dad is Usain Bolt, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be pretty fast. Sam Darnold is plus 400. Baker Mayfield is plus 500. Lamar Jackson is 10 to 1. I guess the odds markets must be racist. I don't know how in the world they're coming up with these numbers, but those are the top 5 that you can bet on. I would put my money on Josh Rosen if I were betting, again, based on the economics degree at UCLA, based on the fact that his dad is a neurosurgeon, and I believe based on the fact that he is graduating in 3 years. All right, I love all of you. Encourage you to go register right now or tweet me why you should get to go to the SEC Tourney Championship game and hang out in the suite in St. Louis. My name is Clay Travis. Hopefully my voice is going to be better tomorrow, but regardless, I'm going to continue to grind because it's what I do. DBAP, boys and girls, thank you for hanging with me. Love all of you. This has been Outkick the Show. Be a helicopter dick, not a mosquito dick. Trust me, if you make that decision, your life will be much better. I'll see you all tomorrow at 6 to 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Radio. DBAP, boys and girls, I'm out.